The investigation into Obama-era abuse of power within the DOJ and FBI continues as House Intelligence Chairman Devin Nunes requests documents related to the Carter Page FISA warrant. One America's Christopher Carter spoke with the former Trump advisor and has more from New York.
With the FISA warrant scandal front and center in the House Republicans' investigation in the Obama administration's alleged wiretapping claims, I spoke with the man at the center of it all, Carter Page, and I got his point of view on many different aspects on how and why the government chose to spy on him. What do you think the big problem with the civil rights abuses directed towards you and the Trump organization are? I mean, what do you see that being?
You know, it's such a complex legal picture. It's just such an unprecedented offenses that were occurring, right? I mean, it's basically, many elements of the Constitution. Even, starting from Article 1 right down to Article 4, the First Amendment down to the 14th Amendment. First Amendment, of course, is, in addition to freedom of the press and freedom of speech, there's freedom of peaceable assembly, right? And our, small volunteer committee that we were trying to help the Trump campaign, these few volunteers, we would get together, for these false stories to be coming out, sponsored and sort of filtered through the U.S. government. It was really, it's really extraordinary. So, I think, and in terms of Fourth Amendment, 14th Amendment with the due process, et cetera. Obviously, that's been pretty shredded as well in terms of what happened in the FISA court. Since the indictments, have you reconsidered any efforts on Russia's part to try to get closer to the president through you? It's funny. My reputation has been so terribly damaged, and all of, it goes back to what I was saying about freedom of peaceable assembly. We had a nice campaign working group that would get together, talk about substantive policy issues, right? Mm-hmm. And with this interference by the DNC and, President Trump's opponents back in 2016, that really had a serious interruption in terms of the work we were doing. So my relationships with all the people have been pretty destroyed. So if the Russians are trying to improve relations, I'm probably the last person they're going to call anytime soon. So do you think when the government was getting a FISA warrant tap on you, they were trying to spy on President or candidate Trump? Well, I think, it's, if you look at the January 6, 2017 DNI report, Director of National Intelligence put out this big report 2 weeks before the election. There were two parts about it. One is government wiretapping or government hacking, and the other was propaganda. And in both instances, that's exactly what the U.S. government ended up doing to me. So there was a series of memos commonly called the Second Dossier that was prepared by Mr. Scheer and possibly Sidney Blumenthal, the Clinton associate. Did that Second Dossier mention you? See, I've been so focused on sort of cleaning up the mess of the first dossier. It'll be interesting to learn more, but that's something I'm waiting to hear more about as well. And it's great that the members of Congress, senior leadership on the Senate Judiciary and House Intelligence Committee are doing so much to get to the bottom of it. Should charges against Flynn and anyone else be dropped if the evidence was gathered via FISA warrant against you? I think, that would really be a complete disgrace if that's what was happening. And so, it sounds like there are many things, particularly, which a lot surrounded this whole FISA warrant situation, which was obviously completely illegitimate. And so it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out once we learn more. I feel terrible what's happened surrounding him. I've never met General Flynn. I never had any interaction with him at all. No doubt we will hear more as the Congress decides what to do with the troubled FBI and Justice Departments as multiple investigations are underway. In New York, I'm Christopher Carter, One America News.
We can use your help. Call your cable provider and kindly demand that One America News is added to your lineup. Call today.